It's time for the Chips and Salsa Show.
The only show about Latinos for Latinos. And did we mention Latinos?
It's the Latísima.
Latinos come in all flavors, shapes, and sizes. You don't have to be Latino to enjoy chips and salsa.
Everybody loves chips and salsa.
Guess what, boys and girls, chipsteros and chipsteras, it is time for the Chips and Salsa Show. My name is Alice Lara. Welcome back. Thank you for tuning in. You're in for a great, delightful, wonderful show here in the Molcajete. First of all, you see I've got two good-looking guys here with me. Don Jorge he'll be back next week. So on my left, but certainly not left, he's very right and conservative, is our good friend, original chipster in the Molcajete, Martin Gonzalez.
Thank you so much, Alice. What a pleasure to be here, to see you, and to be here with Steve Montenegro, who I haven't seen in a long time, and to connect with him. It's
been a while. Right on. And just as he said, on my right, and very right, our good old friend, former state senator of Arizona, now running for the state house, Steve Montenegro.
Hey, guys.
Yeah.
Such
great.
an honor to be here with the chipsters. I am a chipster.
You are a chipster, absolutely. So I just want to tell you how the show's going to go, all right? So the first part, we're going to do kind of some fun stuff because we got Martin in here, and we're going to have some chips and salsa. Thank you very much for bringing that in.
Yes, my pleasure.
And then we have a surprise for you in the second segment. Another chipstero, we call him the Millennial Muchacho, Preston Romero, who will be live from Cali, from California. He's now political director there at the Assembly, and he's going to tell us some crazy stuff that's going on there. So you don't go away. And even if you think, well, you know, I'm listening from Texas, whatever. All of this is relevant, guys. We've got to save our republic. All of this is relevant, I promise you. And then the very last half of our show, what we're going to do, it's going to be totally devoted to Senor Montenegro here.
Great.
And we're going to talk about his campaign more in depth, things that he's done, and we're going to grill him.
Gotta save the country, like you said.
That's right.
Right on. And just, you know, and we will be mentioning this, but I'm going to go ahead and say stevemontenegro.com. Very easy website, so you can go to right now and you can start checking it out. Okay, we got a few little business things to take care of before we get to the fun chips and salsa. Woo! I would like to wish my mom and dad, if my mom and dad were alive, tomorrow would have been their 81st anniversary.
Wow.
They had 61 years. It's pretty good.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so thank you.
No, 81. Or did you
It
say?
would have been 81. But if they got to their 61st.
I see.
Tomorrow would have been 81 if they were still alive.
amazing.
Yeah, 1941.
No?
Congratulations. What a legacy.
Yeah.
Isn't it great? They were
Felicidades.
Carmen and Alejandro Lara, and they were married in 1941. Okay, and then I just want to wish real quickly some buddies of mine, birthdays. Freddie Mendoza, my fellow graduate from Las Cruces High School. Also, Catherine Trinca Fernandez, another one, too. You know, I have very good friends from New Mexico. Muchas gracias. Thank you. Also, last Sunday, you know this guy, Dino Eliades.
Oh, I
was
love
his
Dino.
birthday.
Absolutely.
Yay,
Happy
Dino.
birthday, Dino.
Happy birthday, Dino.
Happy birthday.
And some family members, Dr. Renee Trujillo, also in Las Cruces. She's a dentist. She's awesome. She's married to my nephew, Randy Lara, retired detective from the police department there. And Kathy Bishop is a good friend who had a birthday on the 26th. My friend Cecilia, Cece, who resides in Lordsburg. Oh, I told where you live, Cece, sorry. And her brother's birthday, Ernie Jimente, was last week, but her birthday is tomorrow. Art Olivas, another family member, Daniel Lara, and
Daniel.
Cristina Lozada, excuse me. Christina, she was doing a real estate show with us last year, and so I just want to give her a happy birthday as well. Any birthdays, anniversaries, guys? Anything?
No, but I think I'd like to do a special shout out to our friend and a chipster for life, our friend from Ahwatukee.
Oh, certainly. Absolutely. Why not? Let's go. So a lot of you, if you listen to our show, we have fill-in sometimes because
That's
George
right.
can't always be here. And so you had the pleasure of making the acquaintance of Patty Castillo Porter.
Yeah, last night I was at a political event, and she came up and she said, "You look familiar." And we finally put two and two together, and it was a good laugh. And wow, what a sweet personality! What a big personality, and charming.
Great energy.
Yeah, and when she's been on the show, she's done so well. So I just thought I'd say hello to Patty.
And Patty, just to give her kudos also, for a long time last year, she was out there in Ahwatukee doing the protest of all the busings. They had the illegals bust out there and taking over the hotels. And she stayed on it, man. She is a political activist. Have you met Patty yet?
I
need
believe
to.
I have,
You probably
actually,
have.
Yeah, she's pretty interesting.
You probably
lady.
have.
And she's like on a mission, and that's what I like about her.
Right, absolutely.
Rings
I want to
through.
give a quick promotion to our good friend Charlie Ellis was on last week, and he's doing his Operation During Gratitude golf tourney. That happens April 1st. Nice. So we have information on that. Azra's going to have an event. In fact, aren't you going to speak there?
I should be there, yeah.
And that's next week, right?
Sid, right? Absolutely. I can't wait to see Sid. Sid's a warrior.
And Sid de la Fuente, he actually filled in for us one time. We couldn't do the show, and he introduced and talked to Luis Pozzolo.
Oh, wow.
Who's running against Raul Grijalba. We have so many tremendous, wonderful Latino Republicans like Steve and others, and man, it's awesome.
And the beauty about it is, if I may, is that we stand on the shoulders of other giants as well that have come.
Right.
I'm not trying to say that we're, that they're old. I'm just trying to say that there's so many people that have done so much work before us, and we're able to go as far as we can today because of the work of others. So it's beautiful.
No, it's great. I mean, you started young. You said you had 10 years in the legislature. I can't believe it.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And let me pick up on what you said, because I totally agree with you, Steve, and that is, what I'm doing now in my life is only because somebody did something for me to get to where I am. Yes, I had to put in my effort, right? But somebody helped pave the way.
Right.
And so for me to give back is by doing those kinds of things, so that it maybe is a little easier for another Latino who might be inspired, like I have been inspired, to go further.
That's right.
Like, you're running in 29, right? District 29. Yep. And I wish you all the greatest success there. But
thank you.
I want to see more Latinos. If 36% of the population in Arizona is Latino, I'm all about parity. Alice, we've had this conversation. I want to see 30% at least of all elected officials to be Latinos. What is unreasonable about that? What are your thoughts?
My thoughts are, as long as they love America, as long as they are conservative, constitutional, I want to see them there as well. Because if they don't, I don't want to see them. No, but look, the reality is that there are so many Americans of Hispanic descent that are conservative, and we want them to know that they're not alone. Yeah. That, just like I was able to get involved when I was younger, it's because I saw others that inspired me, that were, that looked like me, that spoke like me, and that had a similar background like mine, and they were conservative. They loved the Constitution, they loved this country, and so, like you said, Martin, perfectly, now I can be that person that inspires others to love America, to stand for our Constitution, to stand for our values as a nation under God, that respects this country. The rule of law is something that we don't see in other Latin American countries, and that does inspire others. I can't tell you countless times how many messages I've had from young people. Hey, Steve, I didn't understand why you did this 10 years ago, but wow, I get it now. You've inspired me. I'm standing right there. I own a gun now. Second Amendment. Exactly. So it's just beautiful.
It's great, and that's one of the reasons, the primary reason we have this show. It's in our 8th year now, and it's all about, it's our natural state of affairs, really, to be conservative. And Latino culture is, we're mostly Christian, Catholic, and our very family-based. Hardworking, pro-life, so I'm so glad, just logical. Keep the tradition going.
That's right.
Yeah, I heard a number, this is a percentage, that 90% of all Latinos are actually conservative, but they've been misguided and misled and misinformed by another political party.
Let down by, I'll tell you that even Republicans have let people down. It's that point where you feel you believe in the country, you believe in the values, and then you subscribe, and then you have people let you down because they don't stand for those Republican principles. So that's another aspect of it too, Martin, that, you're right. They've been led to believe one thing, and then they pop the bubble right in front of them, or they pull the rug from under them. But that's why there's guys like you and I here, and the amazing Alice Lara, who are changing that.
And the education system is responsible too, which we've got to take back. Okay. Do you want to do our salsa stuff? Come back with it. What would you like to?
How are we doing on time?
We have chips and salsa. I think
salsa.
Rock. I think we have like a minute. what's going on? 1 minute?
1 minute.
All right, so we might get it started like during the commercial and come back with it. We're going to be talking to Preston Romero, who will be doing some live reporting from California.
Talk about a war zone right there.
Awful.
We should build a wall on the west side of the state.
I'd like to have a gate.
Make them the Palestinians and we're the Jews, and there's
a
wall between us.
I jest, but we do have a lot of immigration from California coming here, and I don't want it to turn into California.
It's so true.
And I just came from Utah, and they have the same problems, where the people in Utah are saying, we don't want you to California or Utah. And
the Southwest
the same thing.
is being invaded. But we want you to invade our show next. And this is Alice Lara with
Martin Gonzalez.
And
Steve Montenegro.
We'll be right back with more of the Chips and Salsa show here on Central City Radio, Talk Central Phoenix. Don't go away. We're going to guac on some more here in the Molcajete. Stay with us.
This is the Valley's news talk and podcasts. Talk Central Phoenix, a Central City radio station.
Hello, Kubo. What have you got planned for today?
Come on, this way.
Adventure can be found anywhere, but the best place to start.
Aztecas.
Man, I missed that. I missed that.
I didn't know I was in the middle of royalty here.
Okay, no.
And then also on my right,
Steve Montenegro.
Montenegro.
Man, a name so good you have to say it twice.
You gotta say it
Montenegro,
twice.
Montenegro.
SteveMontenegro.com.
SteveMontenegro.com. If you just tuned in, you missed a great first segment, but don't worry about it because you can download our free Central City Radio app and go back and listen to it, or it'll be probably up on YouTube tomorrow, or it's going to be on Facebook. Go back to our Chips and Salsa Show Facebook page and watch it again because lots of good stuff. Okay, as promised, we have for our second set, we have a special report from the Millennial Muchacho out of California, straight from the capital, Sacramento.
From the war zone.
Yeah, the neighbors next door we were just talking about. But this guy is our Millennial Muchacho, Preston Romero.
Hey, everybody. How's it going? Greetings from California, where the only thing beautiful right now is the weather. It's about 80 degrees here in Sacramento, but the temperature inside the Capitol, it's very unpalatable, much like the legislation that's being pushed right now. But how's everybody doing?
We're doing good,
Lovely,
Preston.
marvelous, excellent.
And I'm so glad that you texted me last night, and Preston keeps me in touch with what's going on there. Because, you have a new title. What is it? Political director?
No, I'm a legislative aide with within the politics realm here. But I texted Alice yesterday about a bill. We've been facing high gas prices, and on top of that, a huge tax on the gas. And yesterday we had an assembly member who proposed a bill, and something very wild happened that I've never seen, and I don't think anybody has ever seen done in a committee. They had the bill that would have repealed the gas tax, a 51-cent gas tax, for about 6 months' time, which would be perfect because, we're having families and people coming in to vacation. Conferences are starting to come back now that COVID is kind of over. And the supermajority here in Sacramento decided to take that bill, strip it of its entire contents, and insert it with hostile amendments that would not only create another tax on Californians, but would call for oil companies to have their profits taken and then redistributed to the people. It's a very bizarre ploy. And they succeeded in amending this simple bill to provide quick relief for Californians and decided to shove basically a middle finger to the people in this bill. And it was very shocking. It was so shocking they called the parliamentarian. So I think in anything we've seen in legislative bodies, whether it's in the state or at the federal level, when they call the parliamentarian in, you know that they're doing something wrong or that they're going to find themselves in some trouble.
So, Preston, you said this started out in the Republican caucus, so you can say the whole idea to cut taxes and help Californians out, because what's your gas at? $6, $7?
Yeah, we have probably the highest prices in the nation. Right now, I think I'm paying here in Sacramento anywhere from $5, sometimes $6, depending upon where you're at. And I was on the phone the other day with my mom talking to her about, what's the gas prices back home in St. John's? She's like, I think I'm paying, about $4.30. And I thought I would kill to pay $4.30 for gas as opposed to what, I'm having to fork out of my pockets here for it. So it is it's an untenable situation that we really need help on, and we're not getting it from the people in power.
That's ridiculous. I want Steve to weigh in on this here because, as you know, he was a former state senator, and so he knows about all, making the sausage, so to speak.
I have an old picture with him. We met at a Christmas party years ago.
I remember.
I was when I was a very younger millennial muchacho.
Yeah, I was younger too, and now I'm old. It's good to talk, Christy. Man, what? It's awesome that you are in the mission field of California. No, it's interesting what you mentioned because it is a middle finger. You're absolutely correct because they could easily introduce their own legislation with their own ideas on a separate bill, but they wanted to. This is kind of like mocking not only Republicans but mocking the average Californian, saying, "Look, you have folks that want to, remove this tax, but we're just going to take that same bill." And we're going to strip it, violate it, and institute new language that not only does that, but adds so much, taxes, like you're saying, or goes into the issue or the area of oil. It just shows you the arrogance because when you say that they called the parliamentarian, what they're doing is they're pushing the boundaries because the sponsor was probably saying, no, I don't want these changes made to my own vehicle or piece of legislation. But they thought it would be, let's send a message, right away that we're in power, we're in control. Nobody tells us what to do. We can do whatever we want. Call the parliamentarian if you want. We are the folks in power. It really reeks of this hierarchy that they have in California. And I'm just glad that there are some folks like you there that are there to educate folks and help them through this mess. But people of California have to wake up because, boy, they are not going to survive much longer like that.
And the kicker on top of all that is that once the bill as introduced was, gutted and amended and stuffed with this amendment language, the folks who were leading the charge to kill this solution, this Republican offered solution, they refused to put their names on it as authors of the measure, co-authors of the measure.
Yeah.
And when prompted by the original introducing author if the chair of the committee would like to author the bill herself, she then replied, I haven't had time to read the bill. I haven't had time to delve into the substance, to which the room appropriately erupted into laughter.
Yeah.
Because
cynicism.
They want to propose these things, but they don't want to sign their names to it. They want to propose tax hikes, no gas relief for people, making it very hard for Californians to stretch their dollars even further. And they refuse to sign their names on any of the stuff they're shoving down the pipe. It was just so surreal that I had to text Alice at like 10 o'clock at night. Like, you cannot believe what a day I've had.
Yeah, it's cynical, it's evil. I mean, I'm saying it with all the word because for somebody to be the one that introduces the amendments and then turns around and says, no, I don't want the bill in my name because I don't know what it has in it. It's a game to them. It's a game to them. And the people of California better wake up. Heck, the people of this country better wake up because that's the kind of prevailing thought that is among so many elected people. They feel entitled to be in office. And when the most precious thing we have in this country of how we pass laws and how we vet them and how we drive the economy or drive the social structures of this country, they're going to poke fun at and use it as a game. As they're playing games with people's livelihoods. There's single moms that can't drive to work because they can't afford gas right now. But to them, it's a joke.
And especially in California where the commute, I don't know. Here, I think the commute's averaging 30 minutes, 45 minutes. So California, it could be an hour back and forth. And now you said they would cut like 51 cents, I think is what you said, Preston. Do you happen to know what it is here, or the state tax?
In Arizona, it's 18 cents, and the average price per gallon right now in the state of Arizona is $4.69.
Man, but even a little bit.
Well, that buys you, in a couple of weeks, that buys you a gallon of milk. I'll guarantee you that much.
Yeah, and that 51 cents is just the state tax. So imagine what certain localities, San Francisco, Los Angeles, what they're adding on to their local fuel taxes. So that 51 cents would have just, provided, quick relief. It's been backed and it's been studied by an independent organization within the legislature who said that, yes, removing this tax would instantly provide relief to drivers or relief to Californians who purchase gas. And that would go a long way. If even with just 6 months of relief, it starts the conversation. It gets it gets the prices down. But they instead want to turn it into. It sounds like a grad student's thesis paper on corporate greed, and it really was bizarre because they did have a Berkeley professor. It was just very, very California and very surreal.
Well, and it tells me that is how the left doesn't want they don't want Republicans to have successes like that. If they did that, and like you say, provided so much release, it'd be such a successful bill. No, we can't have success, because then Republicans would look good in California.
No, that's right. And it's about control, remember, to the left. It's not even about relief for the little guy or for the average Joe. It's about control. I will tell you what you can do. I will tell you how much you will pay. I will tell you how much you will make, period. It's about control.
Listen, and this inflation and the cost of gas right now, we've been talking about the state level, but on the federal level, there's an 18% excise tax on all gas. So inflation is good. Everybody's making money on this deal. If you're the retailer, if you're the refiner, if you are the one providing the source of the crude oil, and even the federal government, if you were involved in any of those things, it's a good day for you. So it's going to be impossible to convince anyone who has any authority or power to help us by lowering our taxes and thereby lowering the price of gas to actually do that. What do you think, Preston? What do you think, Steve?
Preston.
Are you still with us, sir?
Oh, yes, I'm still here. Yeah, it's just a tough deal, and they're not serious about any solutions. And I really hate to be this cynical, but it's an election year. So I think that they're going to do everything they can to prevent Republicans from having any kind of win, any kind of successes. And, if the Democrats were to propose, hey, let's do this, let's provide a gas tax relief, well, because they proposed it, it's automatically a win for everybody. And, there are interests who, are either, donors or people who are aligned with this kind of stuff. But yeah, everybody's getting rich off of it except for the little guy, except for you and me. Right. Who are having to make choices between a gallon of gas, a gallon of milk. Do I go get my prescriptions? Do I fill up my tank? What do I do here? People are having to make these real-time choices. And like you said, games are being played. People aren't taking it seriously. They treat it like it's some kind of a game. No,
that's absolutely right. And then when it comes to all this, energy, I mean, it's the way the left operates. If you have a lot of money, if you're rich, you can afford to buy the, rich electric cars, who, by the way, the government's going to give you a subsidy so you can do it. But if you're the little guy, you have to pay the taxes and make everybody else rich. It's regressive. It's how the left operates. They want to control the public. They want to control the masses. But we got to step up, and we can't let them. It's not going to happen in this country. We're not going to let them.
Good. I just want to make a mention real quick. I just saw a headline today. I believe it's the state of Washington is thinking about outlawing vehicles in a few years. Did you see that, Preston?
Do they want to outlaw shoes
vehicles
too?
They've got to be, Teslas or whatever.
That's
right.
Control.
Well, it's not, and it's more insidious than that, because when you're controlling how much the price of gas is, and when you have to make those choices between a gallon of gas or a gallon of milk, then you choose the milk, which does what? Automatically keeps you home. So that limits your radius and your travel. So now we are left at home. We're left near our own communities, whether that's convenient or not, whether we want to or not. The government is actually going to control how far we move around in our respective spaces.
Yep. And then they offer, okay, well, we'll give you, we'll help you with the check every month, but we tell you how much you can work or if you have to work, and it's sad. And look, as Americans, we have to wake up, because some people may be out there thinking, no, that's too far. You guys are crazy. You shouldn't be saying that. We better wake up, because the left in this country is not the old school Democrat, or even the Democrats that, my dad was a Democrat, so I'm a Democrat. My grandfather. Now this is socialism and communism that's infiltrated into this country. They want to destroy what this country's made out, and we're not going to let them.
You are so right, Steve. Preston, we got to say goodbye to you. Thank you, and please keep us posted on Cali happenings.
I will do. I will do my best to make sure that this is a great vacation space for Arizonans. But in the meantime, we'll keep up the fight, and it's great to have folks like you in our corner. So thank you, George, Allison, Martin, and it's always great to talk to you again, Steve. You all have a great night.
All right, take care.
Thank you, Preston.
And we'll be right back with more of the Chips and Salsa Show here on Central City Radio, Talk Central Phoenix with Alice Lara,
Martin Gonzalez,
and
SteveMontenegro.com.
Great.
This is the Valley's News Talk and Podcasts.
Can be perfect, or the answer can be more perfect, because if Alice and I are on the same page, then you might break a tie.
Okay.
Or we're all going to be fully
full
unanimous.
disclosure. So we are of Mexican heritage.
Yes.
And Steve.
I am.
Bola de Mexicanos.
I was born in El Salvador.
Okay.
El Salvador.
Good tiebreaker. Right on.
So I brought some chips and salsa. Chips and salsa goes back to the first show that we've done, and so it's so great to compartir, and enjoy and share this snack that we have together. So Alice, Steve, you are good on the Coke.
Yep, I just poured
and Alice
this.
got her Coke, and can you hand me that glass, and I'll pour a little Coca para mí.
Got it.
So
I haven't,
Alice,
I haven't had any of this, so you can have some of this as well.
Oh no! Oh, you know what? Let me just take a little
Yes,
more
please.
swig. Sale.
There we go.
Thank you. So it's equal, right? It's all fair.
Amen.
So, okay, you guys want to take a drink first and tell me what you think of this Mexican Coke?
Mexican
and if it's
Coke.
going to be better with Mexican food?
Salud.
Salud.
I can taste the Mexican.
That's so much better than the
Very
American
good.
out of the can stuff. I can tell you right now.
Well, it's got the ¿cómo se llama? The pure cane sugar, right? In Mexico, and here it's high fructose corn syrup in the United States.
Very smooth.
Just quick story. Living in Las Cruces, New Mexico, when it used to be easy to go back and forth to the border, every few months we'd go to Juarez and get that. And my dad would buy a case of sodas, real sodas.
Mexican soda.
Yeah,
okay,
awesome.
let's. You want to eat it just a little plain chip right now, just to take the taste out of the.
Yep. Clear the palate.
Comida.
Coca-Cola.
Chips
Some
and,
people smell coffee. We do chips.
or as some people say in Mexico, topopos, right? But here we call it the chips and salsa. Okay. So now, if you got that out of your, if you got the Coke off,
Okay.
your palate, let's put in a little Pepsi Cola. Let me pour that for you, Steve.
And great thanks to you for bringing in all the goodies,
Yeah,
Martin.
Martin. Wow.
Forgot
Oh, it's a bunch
party
of fun,
with you,
isn't it?
dude.
Gotta have them more often.
Fiesta.
I know.
Salud.
Thanks.
Salud.
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 Okay, what are we looking for here? It stings the nostrils. No, it's actually really tasty smelling.
Wow.
Like,
Interesting.
like we're connoisseurs, right? The wine connoisseurs. It has a
Do
nice
the swirl and take a smell.
Look at the bubbles.
in
yeah.
the front.
Carbonation.
In the front, I'm getting caramel, and then
Look
the
at
back.
the legs. Look at the legs on
Oh,
that.
it's beautiful. So, did you notice a distinct difference between the Coke and Pepsi? Enough that you could say definitively, this is the answer. Pepsi is the best for Mexican food, or Coca. By the way, they're not. This show isn't sponsored by either one. We're just doing this for a laugh.
Unless they want to.
Bueno, para esto estamos, right? So we're here for that. If you want to send us like $1 million, Coke or Pepsi, sign. We'll sign. We'll sign on the dotted line.
We'll talk
Alice,
to you.
what do you think?
We'll talk.
What do you think?
All right. So the question is
Yep.
Coke, Coca-Cola, or Pepsi Cola?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Pepsi Cola muy sabroso para
I gotta
él y
tell
para
you.
Rosa.
I got to. Well, you go first.
Okay. And a quick Spanish lesson. I tell people learning Spanish. All the vowels in Pepsi Cola, all the vowels are how they should be pronounced in Spanish. Pepsi Cola. Okay. And then for the U,
Oh,
it's
yeah, because you
ooh.
got the ES.
And that's like a quick trick. Barry Young, I told him that. Remember Barry Young?
Pepsi Cola para tú. There, you covered it all.
All right, good deal. Okay, so I believe, now growing up, I used to love Pepsi.
Yeah.
Pepsi was my drink. Now I'll be fair, it's Dr. Pepper. But today,
For Mexican food,
and Mexican food,
in honor of Mexican food,
I'm going to go with a Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola. Okay.
Coca-Cola.
I take your Coca-Cola and I raise you another Coca-Cola because I think that's the best pairing. Steve, do you break the tie or do you make it unanimous?
Now I'll tell you that I might make a lot of people upset.
Putting you
here,
on
but
the pressure
you can taste a subtle difference. I got to tell you that the Mexican Coca-Cola is definitely a little smoother. The sugar is not as in your face as I'm used to tasting the Coca-Cola. Even the bubbles are a little more subdued.
Yeah, it's not as carbonated in Mexico as
It's
it is here.
not. Yeah, and so but the Pepsi also has a very signature sweetness to it as well. So in the essence, or in the interest of democracy and us being equal here, I'm actually going to go with Pepsi today.
Okay, so he goes with Pepsi. We don't have a majority, we have a plurality. Is that it?
Plurality, but you guys win.
We win.
You win.
We
2-1.
win.
Because it's Martin. And we got to make it interesting once in a while, too.
That's true.
But you know what I'll say about this?
What's up?
So Steve, our candidate, that just says he's not afraid to go against if he's outnumbered.
Against the grain.
He will speak up and say what was really
He's a
he believes is the
peacemaker
truth.
in the legislature.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Look how that's obvious in this conversation that we're having about that.
You know, during these times, they want to shut us up. They want us not to speak out. I remember I saw one of the Phoenix food magazines said, Steve Montenegro, he must be made in a laboratory because he's an immigrant who wasn't born here, and he's conservative, he's pro-life, he's for, border security, anti-illegal immigration. They're just not used to seeing... We're like we're like aliens, right?
Yeah, they stopped short of actually calling you an alien.
Yeah, exactly. But the truth is that if our country is going to survive, and I mean, there's so many people that have sacrificed so much so that we can enjoy our podcast, our radio, our chips, our salsa, our leche con café, whatever we want to call it. But if this country is going to survive another decade, holy moly, we need to step up. We need to speak out right now more than ever, and we need to understand what's happening. I remember one quote I learned early on: the price that good people pay for not being involved in politics is that bad people rule over them. And we're seeing that now. There's a lot of people that are waking up, not woke.
Thank you.
That's not.
Thank
there's
you.
a huge difference there, right? Yeah.
Things, yeah.
But waking up and look, I think that there is a sleeping giant that with this, specifically with this last election, obviously with Donald Trump in the White House and his candidacy, and then in 2020 with the elections, the trust of the American public's gone. And if you ask Latinos, it's already been on shaky ground because of Latin American politics.
Right.
But now more than ever, people don't trust, and we have to fix that. We have to make sure we restore that integrity to the election process. I mean, it's not something partisan. Come on, let's be honest. In 2017, Kamala Harris and Nancy Pelosi were yelling that elections were, something had happened with elections. And so that distrust is gone. So we need to fix that in this country first and foremost. We got to make sure that the people who should be voting are voting. And if you don't have the right, if you're not a citizen, then you shouldn't be voting in this country. If you're a citizen somewhere else, then you should be voting in another country. That's not a bad thing to say. That's just how things work. We need to make sure we're Arizona. We're a border state. It's the border, the flow of illegal immigration, or the flow of drugs, illicit drugs, and even human trafficking, child trafficking. It's real, and it affects us all. And I'll even go a step further. It affects our own families, Latino families, who are affected the most, whether it's for jobs, they're the ones that suffer the most foremost, or crime. And it's not that, I'm not saying that every person that comes to this country illegally is a criminal, although they're breaking the law by coming, but I'm saying that
ipso facto makes them a criminal.
It makes them a criminal.
I don't understand how people don't accept that notion that the second you cross, you're already a criminal.
Yeah, no, and what I'm trying to say is that they're breaking the law to start. But when I'm talking about the drugs and the traffic, maybe not all of them are involved in drugs, but it's affecting our families here, our neighborhoods, and so we have to step up for our kids. Education's important. Look, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but since 2008, I've been following these polls. The most important issues that mattered to any American culture, whether you're Hispanic, whether you're Black, whether you're Asian, whatever it is, you're American. Jobs, the economy, education for your kids, healthcare, it matters. And so you can see why people are fired up right now. They started messing with their kids in school. You shouldn't be messing with school choice. Allow parents to be involved in the education of their children. They started messing with health. They're forcing people to do things that they don't want to do, forcing people to take jabs they don't want to take. All of a sudden, it's about control again. And then you have the ever economy, that's falling off the rails. So that's why I'm stepping back in. There's a lot of people who ask me, Steve, you've been effective in the past. The left hates you. They've taken shots at you, and they have. And many of you who have known me, they've seen they hate me. But that's okay, because I'm not fond of socialism or communism either. But the reality is that there are enough people. They said, Steve, let's go. There's a lot invested in everything we've done. Let's keep going. And absolutely, my heart This is what I was made for, to fight for liberty, for first of all the gospel and liberty. Let's go. And so I'm grateful, Alice, to you. You know, many of you know Alice as a superstar, as a rock star, and Martin as well. These folks, I've known them for over a decade now.
We're rock stars.
And they've seen me. Yeah, no, it's true. Own it.
Yeah.
Own it. If you're a rock star, you just got to
Political blabbermouth, yes, admitted.
You know, Steve, I wanted to ask you a question, and I appreciate that you are talking about current events and things that are important to us now, and some of the causes that are very important to you and what you want to do. Right now, you are running for the
State House.
For the State House.
Yeah, Arizona State House.
It's the former Legislative District 13.
Now the new District 29.
Now the new District 29.
Surprise, Arizona, El Mirage, Arizona, Goodyear, Litchfield Park, the best part of Arizona.
Sally. Okay, so my question to you is, and let me preface this by saying, we're going to go back 10 years when you first got into the political arena, right? You became a public figure and you ran for office. How do you feel if you were to, and this may be not the right question for you, but it would be of your constituents, how do you feel it's gone in the past 10 years? What have you done for the Latino community, and what can they expect of you for this next cycle?
30 seconds.
Okay, cool. Well, look, I came in thinking I'm an American, just like every other Latino who consider themselves an American of Hispanic descent. And what we love is what this country is founded upon. And so what I've done is what I've done for every culture. And that's what we want to be, as Latinos. We just want to be treated like like Americans. And what is that? Fighting for our economics, lowering the tax burden, the biggest tax cuts here in state history, fighting for the values of working hard. My dad used to tell me, if you're willing to work hard, then you can dream as big as you want. Dream big, but you got to be willing to work as hard for it. And we got to keep that dream alive, not just for one culture, for all cultures, the American culture. I believe in it. I'm bought in. I've sold out to the American culture, if you want to call it, or American culture. They call me a sellout anyways.
Thank you, Steve. Well, appreciate that insight. You're watching the Chips and Salsa Show. We'll be back.
Good job. Thank you so much. And of course,
he's the rock star.
He is a rock star.
We're giving our own little pats on the back, but his name is Rock.
Yeah.
So
it's like a DJ back there.
Right on. And of course, Julian Allison, who is owner, founder of Central City Radio, and reason that we're here.
Wouldn't it be less than wonderful or more wonderful to actually interview Julian, because he's a success story.
Wow.
The kind of success story that other Latinos and other minorities could go, now this is somebody I can look up to. He's made a success. We've watched him over the years, Alice, Steve, and every year he grows. The show is bigger. The show is better. He's an amazing human being, and that would be a great story.
And we always talk about it, and we're going to do that. And remember, download the free Central City Radio app on that same note. So I'm Alice Lara with Martin Gonzalez and former Senator Steve Montenegro, who's running for the now soon-to-be LD29.
The new
right?
LD29, that's correct.
Arizona State House. Okay,
yes.
So we've just got a few minutes left. We've got a little surprise at the end for our chipsters, for our listeners, because we really appreciate your loyalty. I'm going to ask a question, then I'm going to toss it to Martin, because Martin doesn't always get to be here. And please come back anytime. Martin.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that, Alice.
We love having you here. We do. All right. During the break, we were talking about my big thing when I elect somebody local. I want to know, too, what are you hearing out there? And especially you can take this in the Latino framework. What are you hearing about there, and what can you do? You've got this great, vast experience. You've been there before. But it's a different legislature now. We're barely a majority, I should say. We're almost a minority as Republicans. Give me your thoughts on that.
Well, I think one of the blessings of being able to, be out of politics, recovering a little bit, is...
Did you enjoy it, I bet?
The time of my life is because I've actually been surrounded by my family, by real people, by normal people.
Beautiful family.
And I think the biggest thing that if people are elected right now, they don't get is that people are ticked off. People are upset. And people, yes, whether there was an article in one of the newspapers, national newspapers, I won't mention their name because they're usually lefty, but they were saying how the Hispanics are leaving the Democrat Party. But that's not just Hispanics. There's so many Americans that are just leaving. If you look at the registration numbers, but what's also interesting is that they're not necessarily jumping onto the Republican Party. They're getting smart. They're seeing where politicians are, and politicians that are elected right now need to wake up. First of all, because there's folks like me coming back to wake them up, and folks like Janae Shamp, who I'm running with. I'll tell you a little about them, and Austin Smith as well. But the reality is we need to remind folks that the Constitution is here to protect the people, to protect American interests, and to defend our homeland. It's not here to push an agenda of, energy or push an agenda of whatever makes people rich, right? We're here to create a plain level field for everybody. And that's what I think, we were talking about different owners who maybe not, they may, I don't like the word minority, Martin, I'll tell you, because we're Americans, right, of Hispanic descent, or Americans of different descent. But I'll tell you that I see these success stories, just like what you're saying, success stories that, how did they do it and why did they do it? Well, because they embedded in them is a desire to work hard, to get ahead for your family, for your kids. And that's what people are missing. And so, look, I want you to know that we need your help. I want you to know I'm running together as a team with Janae Shamp. She's running for the Senate there in District 29. And Austin Smith, you get 2 House seats and 1 senator. I've teamed up with them because they're Americans who love this country, love the Constitution. I want you to learn more about us. Our website is actually really simple, district29team.com and district29team.com. Now, my website is stevemontenegro.com. I want you to reach out to me. You can find out if you don't have time, you can give. You can give through the website. If you can't do anything else, $5, $10, $15, it all helps. If you want to volunteer, come on out and volunteer. If you can't leave your house, let's have you make phone calls from your house. Yes, that's possible, but you can get involved. Help us save this country.
Steve, we've got to wrap up the show.
Oh, no.
But I want to thank you so much. Please come back. Full disclosure, we interview all Republican candidates. There's a lot of people running. We have some great candidates. I thank you so much for coming in. Martin, I thank you for being here. We have a special little treat.
Pleasure.
Are you guys ready back there?
Ready.
Okay. And Martin, it was Martin's idea.
Well, you're very kind. I just wanted to say thank you so much to all our fans, all our viewers who are able to see us now on YouTube as well as Facebook. Thank you for your support over the past, 8 years?
This is our 8th year.
Yeah, so we just wanted to say thank you so much. You mean everything to us. So that's my thought of it.
We have
as we end the show.
Music going out for you. Thanks again. Be back with us next week here on Central City Radio, Talk Central Phoenix at 4 p.m. And George is supposed to be back. Hopefully you'll come back sometime, Martin. And SteveMontenegro.com. Good luck.
Great chips. Great salsa.
All right. Right on.
Great talk.
I'm a chipster.
Guac on some more. Alice Lara here, signing off.
What you need to know. This is Talk Central, a Central City